Welcome to the 8th grade presentation of the Living Stations. We thank you for joining us to walk with Jesus during this Holy Week. And now, without further ado, we present the Living Stations. The Lord's Supper. When it was evening, Jesus and the 12 disciples sat down to eat. During the meal, Jesus said,
"I tell you, one of you will betray me."
The disciples were very upset and began to ask,
"You don't mean me, Master?"
Later, while they were eating, Jesus took the bread, gave a prayer of thanks, broke it, and gave it to his disciples.
"Take and eat it. This is my body."
Then he took the cup, gave thanks to God, and gave it to them.
"Drink it, all of you. This is my blood which seals God's covenant. My blood poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins. I tell you, I will never again drink this wine until the day I drink the new wine with you in my Father's kingdom."
Then they sang a hymn and went out to the Mount of Olives. Jesus prays in Gethsemane. Then Jesus went with his disciples to a place called Gethsemane. He said to them,
"Stay here while I go over there and pray."
He took with him Peter, James, and John. Grief and anguish came over him, and he said to them,
"The sorrow in my heart is so great that it crushes me. Stay here and watch with me."
He went a little farther and then prayed,
"My Father, if it is possible, take this cup away from me, but not what I want, but what you want."
He returned and found the 3 disciples asleep and said to Peter,
"How is it that you were not able to watch with me for 1 hour? The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak."
A second time, Jesus went to pray and prayed,
"If this cup cannot be taken away from me, your will be done."
He returned and found them sleeping once more. Again he left to pray, for the 3rd time, saying the same words. Then he returned to the disciples and said,
Are you still sleeping and resting? Look, the hour has come for the Son of Man to be turned over to the power of sinful men. Get up, let us go. Look, here's the man who is betraying me.
The betrayal. Jesus was still speaking when Judas, one of the 12 disciples, arrived. With him were soldiers. The traitor had given the crowd a signal.
The man I kiss is the one you want. Arrest him.
When Judas arrived, he went straight to Jesus and said,
Peace be with you, Master.
Jesus answered.
Be quick about it, friend.
They came and arrested Jesus. One of those with Jesus drew his sword and struck, cutting off an arrester's ear. Then Jesus said to him,
Put your sword back in its place, because all who take the sword will die by the sword. Don't you know that I could call upon my Father for help, and at once he would send me more than 12 armies of angels? But then, how could the scriptures come true that say it must happen this way?
Jesus before the court. Early in the morning, all the chief priests and the Jewish elders made their plans against Jesus to put him to death. They put him in chains, took him, and handed him over to Pilate, the Roman governor. Jesus stood before the governor, who questioned him.
Are you the king of the Jews?
So you say.
He said nothing to the accusations of the chief priests and elders. At every Passover feast, the governor was in the habit of setting free any prisoner the crowd asked for. This time, they chose Barabbas over Jesus. The crowd responded to the offer of Christ with the screams of,
What crime has he committed?
When Pilate saw it was no use to go on, he took some water, washed his hands in front of the crowd, and said,
I am not responsible for the death of this man. This is your doing.
The first station, Jesus is condemned to death. Dear Jesus, there you stand a prisoner, and wicked men have said that you must die, but you have done nothing wrong. You have spent your whole life in doing good to others. I must always remember that it was for me you died, so that I could go to heaven and be happy with you. Teach me, dear Jesus, when I am blamed for something, even if unjustly, to be silent as you were, because I love you and want to be like you. The second station, Jesus is made to carry his cross. Dear Jesus, the cross which they are laying on your shoulders is so heavy, how it must hurt. And you are all wounded and bleeding. How will you be able to carry it up that steep hill? Teach me to remember that when I sin, it hurts you even more than the heavy cross.
Were you
Third station, Jesus falls the first time. Dear Jesus, you are so weak and tired that you can hardly walk, but the soldiers roughly order you to start on your journey. After a few steps, you stumble and fall, but there is no one to help you or speak to you kindly. How I wish I could have been there to tell you that I love you and was so sorry for you. The fourth station, Jesus meets his Blessed Mother. Dear Jesus, who is this waiting for you, staying close to the place where you must pass? It is your own Blessed Mother who loves you so much. But how it hurts her to see you so cruelly treated. She wishes they would do all these things to her instead of you. The soldiers will not let her say a word. She can only speak to you with her eyes as you pass by. Dear Jesus, teach me to love your Blessed Mother very much.
Were you there when Simon took the cross? Were you there when Simon took the cross? Sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when Simon took the cross?
The fifth station, Simon of Cyrene helps Jesus to carry the cross. Dear Jesus, you are now so weak that you cannot carry the cross alone anymore. The soldiers make a man named Simon help you with it. I wish I had been Simon so that I could have helped you. But teach me to remember that I am helping you even more now when I show kindness to others for your sake.
Were you there when he walked to Calvary? Were you there when he walked to Calvary? Oh, sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when he walked to Calvary?
The sixth station, Veronica wipes the face of Jesus. Dear Jesus, your face was all covered with dust and blood, and the wicked people had been spitting on it. The blood was trickling down from the crown of thorns on your head, right into your eyes, when Saint Veronica pushed her way through the crowd and wiped your face with her veil. To thank her for being so brave, you left the picture of your face there on the veil. Teach me to remember that I must never be afraid to say I belong to you and I am your child.
Were you there when he fell beneath his cross? Were you there when he fell beneath his cross? Oh, sometimes it
The seventh station, Jesus falls the second time. Dear Jesus, this time you fall more heavily than before, and it is harder to get up. The soldiers push and strike you to make you hurry along when you can hardly walk. It frightens me to think how cruelly you were treated, you who are my Lord and my God. Teach me to understand what a dreadful thing sin is, because to pay for it, you suffered so much.
Were you there when the sun refused to shine? Were you there when the sun refused to shine? Sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when the sun refused to shine?
The eighth station. Jesus speaks to the women of Jerusalem. Dear Jesus, there are some women waiting by the roadside to see you pass. They are so sorry for you that they are crying. You speak to them kindly and tell them not to weep for you, but for themselves and their children, because many people are going to suffer terribly as a punishment for having not believed in you. Teach me to be very sorry for my sins, not for fear of being punished for them, but because they hurt you.
Were you there when he fell beneath his cross? Were you there when he fell beneath his cross? Sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when he fell beneath his cross?
The ninth station. Jesus falls the third time. Dear Jesus, for the last time you stumble and fall to the ground. Shall you ever be able to get up again? The cross crushes you with its weight, and the people around wonder if you are not dead already. But no, once more you climb to your feet and struggle forward up the hill. Teach me to never be discouraged, even if I keep falling into the same sins, but help me to begin again at once, to obey you and to do your will.
Were you there when they stripped him of his clothes? Were you there when they stripped him of his clothes? Sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when they stripped him of his clothes?
The 10th station. Jesus is stripped of his garments. Dear Jesus, at last you have reached the top of the hill, the place where you are to die. There is a big crowd of people around you. They are laughing at you and calling you wicked names. Your dear mother and your friends cannot get near. The executioner roughly pulls off all of your garments, and the blood pours down. It is just as if each one of those cruel wounds had been given to you a second time. All the people are looking at you. Teach me to be willing sometimes to go without things that I want and give up little pleasures, because you suffered so much for me. The 11th station. Jesus is nailed to the cross. Dear Jesus, now they are putting big nails through your hands and feet to fasten you to the cross. It hurts me only to prick my finger with a pin. How much more these nails must hurt you? When the executioner tells you, stretch out your hand or your foot, you obey him without saying a word. And I, when I am told to do some little easy thing, how often I disobey. Teach me to always be perfectly obedient, because you were so obedient when being nailed to the cross.
Were you there when they nailed him to the tree? Were you there when they nailed him to the tree? Oh, sometimes
The 12th station, Jesus dies on the cross. Dear Jesus, you are hanging on the cross and dying. You are dying for me so that I can be God's child and go to heaven. You are not angry with the wicked men who killed you. You have forgiven them, and you asked your Father to forgive them too. The people are all going away. I think some of them are beginning to be sorry. Your Blessed Mother and your friends are standing close by the cross. I wish I had been there with them. I would have stayed there to the very end to show how much I love you. Teach me always to forgive anyone who is unkind to me, because you forgave your murderers when you hung dying on the cross.
Were you there when they crucified my Lord? Were you there when they crucified my Lord? Oh, sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when they crucified my Lord?
The 13th station, Jesus is taken down from the cross. Dear Jesus, it is very quiet now around the cross. Everybody has gone away but a few soldiers and your mother and your friends. 2 of your friends bring a ladder, and oh, so slowly and carefully they take you down and lay you in the arms of your Blessed Mother. Her heart is breaking as she looks at the crown of thorns and the nails and all your dreadful wounds. Teach me to comfort your dear mother now by never hurting you with my sins.
Were you there when they laid him in the tomb? Were you there when they laid him in the tomb? Oh, sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when they laid him in the tomb?
The 14th station, Jesus is laid in the tomb. Dear Jesus, you are all ready to be laid in the tomb. Your wounds have been washed, and you are wrapped in clean white linen cloths. You must be buried tonight. In a garden close by, which belongs to one of your friends, there is a new tomb cut in the rock. Now you are being carried there. Your Blessed Mother looks at you for the last time. How can she bear to let you go? But in 3 days, dear Jesus, you will rise from the dead, all bright and glorious, to go back to heaven, never to suffer anymore. Teach me, among the joys of earth, always to remember the joys of heaven. Help me love you so much that, when I die, I shall be happy with you there forever.